Right, hello. So I wanted to start this video by saying thank you for what's now 4 years of this. You know, it was actually yesterday, but I forgot I was very busy with mostly just school stuff. I'll explain by the end of the video why I've been gone for such a while. Yeah, it's been 2 months since my last video properly, but yeah, I wanted to quickly go over something because I noticed a comment by Foxy on my channel, and I thought it was very interesting to just kind of take a peek at. It's a very long comment, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just read this for you, and then I'm going to give my insight on it. I'm going to read it per paragraph. Also, in the video's description probably will be like timestamps where you can just jump to like different parts of it, just to keep it a bit organized. Before I start, I have a new microphone, because I broke my old one. I might sound a bit different. I'll try to just keep the audio as consistent as possible for you guys, but sometimes stuff like this does happen, and I'm very sorry that it does. But yeah, so this is on my video. First tag will be great, but it might underwhelm you. Where I talked about it's been taking such a while that first tag might just become very underwhelming as an update. And I addressed some concerns I had, and I got a very lengthy response from Foxy. I think it's like like a big Word document basically. Like detailing what happened and how he's gonna take steps in the future to address it, and like just explaining some general stuff. So we'll just get started. So he opens it with, it's always been a concern that for the update to be underwhelming to some people due to how long it's taken, but it's still important for us to not be treating this update as a simple content update or a new sacrifice to perform. And the majority of this update has been dedicated to going back on previous mechanics that either were not executed well or that have been improved upon for a long time. I get from a player's perspective that they want things to do in the game, but having I started reading by the way, but having to also make time and plans for updates that come before first sacrifice only gets in the way further because it takes our attention away from the actual update. So what he's saying here is basically releasing mini updates like how it used to be with Bereza is kind of hard because you can't make any major revisions whilst also making small updates to the side because it just kind of fucks itself up. Slender, which is Slender Creeper, renowned miner saving hacker, now turned developer somehow. Being added to the team has at least given us an easier time to having reruns be done of previous events for a time otherwise it would have been talented be having to do it basically. So what he's saying here is they added Slender to the team and he's been working on rerunning the old miner saving event. So we've, for the last 3 years now we've seen the same Halloween event. Which I haven't. I literally did not care to play Halloween this year. I had not logged in because like normally I really love Halloween events in games, and I've been playing like CS:GO, but like yeah, I just haven't really bothered personally. That's for me to even check out the event because I just knew there was going to be nothing to it, which is sad coming from someone who really loves Miners Haven. Like with all I have, I really fucking love this game, but like it's just kind of how it is, you know. It just doesn't really do much. Moving on to the second paragraph, one thing I hadn't realized sooner during development with First Sacrifice and updates that came before is how we're supposed to handle implementing new items that aren't a part of the Third Sacrifice update and come before. Basically saying like there is something going on, I'll explain later how it all works, where if you add items, it messes up with item IDs, which that's what he explains here. So since last year, I believe only 7 items were added, 15 including the recent Halloween update. But the only this hold on. But the only way for us to simply do this is what the fuck? Okay, this sentence kind of fucked up. Hold on, let me. But the only this is kind of simply for us to do because the items we already added to our test plates that this affects are the Everlasting Key along with the Renegade Slipstream variants, which we were able to ID swap. I'll explain whatever is going on right here in a bit. But by this plan, every time new items added, it only adds more disorganization with how the items are handled in the game because of IDs changing constantly. And doing this has created 2 instances of Advanced Reborn being sold by a masked man, Black Dwarf, and a Polymine a few years ago. We hadn't thought much of it, thought much to do to. A few years ago, we hadn't thought of much to do to go about items now added before Third Sacrifice because of the IDs because of how the ideas are handled in Miner's Haven. Replacing an item with another item will make all copies of the original item converted to its replacement. And by adding items before first sacrifice, that also means we're required to ID swap what we have in our test plates to accommodate for the new items added before we update. However, I had realized a way we can go about with the future updates, as Miner's Haven is still getting some major title updates planned at the third sacrifice. So this sentence right here, I want to quickly highlight. So basically what he says here is what happened, and this is the entire paragraph, what happens is when they add a new item to Miner's Haven, it needs an ID. So they can reference it in code. That's how that works. And when you add items to the main game where third sacrifice doesn't exist, and then you also have to add that to the test place, because otherwise you can get IDs overlapping when you release the actual update, and everyone will just have scrambled items. And that's a very disorganized way of working, because every time you add a new item to non-third sacrifice, you have to update all the IDs to accommodate that in the third sacrifice test place. What they're doing now is Foxy has found a way, and we'll read over that here, to mitigate that. But like what he says here is, like, third sac will not be the last update to my game. That was the notion for quite a while, and I think this is pretty big, and that's why I'm mainly making this video. Is third sac there will be major content updates after third sacrifice, which is quite good. That's quite cool in my opinion, because I remember back in 2020 maybe, they said like, oh, first sac will be the last update. After that you could just pack it up, go find a job, you know. But that's not the case anymore, which is really great in my opinion, because that means we get to like enjoy Miner's Haven for just a bit longer, which I really love. Yeah, so I'm gonna now just read over how we're gonna fix the item ID issue he's been describing. So, what we'll likely be doing is, that when an update comes out before a major title update, we'll add in a few items that, if we have any, so basically if update adds any items, we'll add in, like, items to the main game, as placeholders, of the items, which we have in our test place. These placeholders would not be viewable by the player nor obtainable. But it does receive the item ID which we're adding in a major update for the live game when it's ready to release. Then we can simply add in these new items to that test place as well, because it won't interfere with any IDs we had created for a major update. I believe this method should work, and it should make updates before major. Should be. Ah, dude, I hate reading so much. Let me tell you. It should make updates before major updates less annoying on us to do. So basically how this works, and I'll have a little graph. Actually, I'll just draw it out for you. So hold on, let me fire up Paint. So yeah, what we're gonna do is basically you'll have two boxes, right? So you have this box here. This will be the test place, right? Oh, I gotta get space there. Why is it sideways? Don't do that. Right, so that'll be the test place. That's very weirdly positioned, but we'll just deal with it. And then this will be the main game, right? So main game, okay? And so what we're gonna do is they add an item to the test place. So like, hold on, let me create some circles for you. These are all the items in main game Miner's Haven, right? And the test place will also have these items just because the test place is just a dupe of the main game. And so when they want to add an item, right? So they want to say, oh, they say like, oh yeah, we want to add an item to our test place. They're going to also just add it to main game, but it will not be obtainable. I'll just indicate that by making it red. So it won't be obtainable. They're just develop that item on the test place, but it'll be there. So when they finally want to merge the test place to the main game, so release the update, they can literally just grab all this and just like overlay it on top of the main game. Everything should work because the item already existed with its ID. And it will just be seamless. There will be no weird glitches with the masked men selling advanced reborns like back in 2019, I think. And it'll just all work. So that's the new system, and it should make releasing updates a bit more streamlined for the developers. Yeah, so here. I've read some of the comments here to see how others may feel as well, so that's on the video. But I would also like to comment about. I recall having gotten some slack from some others because of the creation of the item spreadsheet. So for quick context, the item spreadsheet is a giant Google Doc file which just outlines some of the items, just confirms that they exist. I have some videos on here. I'll probably just like put a bit like a card at the end, going over just that spreadsheet, just reading some stuff that's in it, so we can kind of, at the time we got kind of like an insight into the development of Third Sack. Yeah. But yeah, people had like a bit of a problem with that, so I'll now read over why. Because it reveals all the items we're adding into this update and previously included stats for them as well, which is not hard to agree with. So basically people are mad like, oh yeah, it leaks everything. Oh no, we're adding over 150 new items to the game with an update. And they were all revealed, not physically, but their mere existence in the document. I still feel the document's existence is necessary due to a lot of the current items being reworked. And you all should know this information before the update. Because of this, it's personally made me feel a bit less reluctant to leak new things we have added, because sometimes I feel we may be leaking too much. So he's basically a bit like, he's holding back a bit more on releasing stuff, because like, if you leak too much of games, there's nothing going to be new. You already know everything. Like, that's like releasing a movie, but you watch it 2 days before release, you know? It's just kind of mad. And going back to the title of this video, which the title is Third Sack will be great, but it might underwhelm you. Where is it? There you go. I feel leaking too much can contribute to an underwhelming update. There are still things we haven't revealed to the public because we would prefer players discover them on their own. So that's really good news too. There is more stuff to Third Sack than you already think. There's already a bunch of stuff, but there's going to be more, which is really cool, in my opinion. It gives me a bunch of stuff to make videos about. It just sets me thinking like, oh, what can I do? What can I make a video about next, you know? I think that's really cool, and I'm really glad Foxy went out of his way to confirm that for us here. So yeah, let me scroll up again. Yeah, we'll just fat. Yeah, okay. It's also not necessary that we get mad when we're asking about a release date. So that's like a bit of context for new Miners Heaven players. There's this like running bit. It's been going for like probably 4 years now, where if you like ask like, oh, when we release Third Sack, like, and people go into the Discord and they'll just ask when Third Sack release, everyone just kind of chuckle. That's what this is referencing right now. But yeah, it's just not really easy for us to say when the update should be ready or not, when there's still some major things to tend to. So there's major things they still have to program, develop, etc. Previous updates we've released have all had their own problems due to lack of testing as well, and I feel testing should be mandatory to determine when we can release it. Of course, that's normal. I must assure you that we will be giving a release date to the update, so there will be a release date. But just because we haven't, it doesn't mean we aren't really sure. We all have our own ideas for when the update should be ready, but I know that if we even said we believe it'll be released, that people are going to treat that as an official release. So they're saying like they have an internal time when they think they'll be done, but that's not, of course, not set in stone. So if they release that time, people will just treat that as the release date. And when they miss that time slot, people will be mad, which is not great. And I know we can always say that it isn't, but it doesn't change the fact that these things will always make people raise their hopes for something that hadn't been confirmed. And with how long this update has taken, I'd rather people not find themselves in a situation where they misinterpreted something we've said only to be disappointed later. Yeah, that's very fair. Like that's like what major game studios do. They won't tell you, oh, the game's ready when it's not, because like when you have to delay it. That's bad. You know, that'll make people quite mad. A great example, Starfield is like some stupid video game. They delayed that by like 10 years, dude. It's crazy. But it's finally out now. So that's a great example. People weren't happy that it got delayed so much. I also see another comment saying this shouldn't have taken years to make, because this update, considering most of it's already programmed. But unfortunately for us, it isn't that simple. This update has reworked a lot of the mechanics that currently do exist, and regardless of if they already do exist, they're being reprogrammed. Thus, time is being put in to potentially make the system better than they were. Same applies to items as well. There's over 1,000 items in the game, but that doesn't make it less easy to confront what to do with them. They'll have their own code and mechanics, and with some of the things we have planned, we need new mechanics supported in the game for certain items to work. Such as the new way furnaces and cell furnaces will be handled. I haven't update been a mere sacrifice update, and it would have done by now, but it never was. And with relatively more recent things such as New Heights having brought up some glaring issues with physics and the way people are capable of playing the game, it has not made it any better. This update needs to clean up the mess by the previous updates that we've done too. So what we're saying is we're going to just treat this update as a giant overhaul of Minecraft. Everything's going to change in some minor way, or in some really big way, as they said with furnaces. They just have to overhaul a lot of code, and coding takes a long time. It's not as easy as just smashing your keyboard, sadly. I know, I do programming myself. And yeah, just revising on code is probably the hardest thing to do. And I really do feel for the developers here. I really do get why it's taking such a while. Previous releases we've done, such as New Heights Reincarnation, may have seemed alright in the moment, but I myself can't help to dislike these updates for the long-term issues they have created, or how new features were executed. So Foxy himself, I know he's a bit of a perfectionist, which I really don't mind. Personally, I like perfectionism myself. But like, basically he says, oh yeah, these updates, they were alright, but really, there's a bunch of stuff wrong with them, Foxy says, and that's why he's really not fond of the updates. Yeah, which I understand, you know, and that's normal to not really feel positive about. Oh, let me quickly scroll, there we go. Had we not cared about Miners Haven, I don't think First Sacrifice would even be finished. With how ambitious we've been with new features, how in-depth the new mechanics are, I don't think it's necessarily fair to say that we don't care about this game. People who don't would have just kept a lot of these mechanics the same, wouldn't address problems you face with current gameplay, and we would not go out of our way to freshen things up in the visual appeal of the game either. So Miners Haven, again confirmed here, is getting a visual refresh as well, which takes, again, time. Developers who don't care would have just given up a lack of quality testing, and those have the two most important things with this update. Making sure it's as good as it can be, and ensuring it's tested to avoid the launch of the update being ruined. We may not show, but we think this update has gotten the most amount of care from us than anything it has ever gotten from us, is what we're saying. We don't want to rush it, that won't do it any favors, but it may sound like you'll get it sooner, but that comes at the expense of quality, and First Sacrifice cannot afford to take these chances. So yeah, as we know, Miners Haven is sadly kind of a dying game currently, and they want to make Third Sac as good as it can be to hopefully breathe new life into it and make sure it's as perfect as possible, which I totally understand that. It's a very fair opinion to have, and I really think it's a great way to go about things. Yeah, that's all I have to say of it. I really think, like, First Sacrifice is going to still take a while, but I think we're nearing, I actually don't want to say that, but I think we might be nearing the second half of the update now, which is good. I'm not saying it'll take another 6 years, I doubt it, but like it's gonna release eventually. That's what I'm really glad about, and things like saying, oh, they really do care about this update. It's really like raised hopes for me personally for this update, because I was really starting to lose hope for it ever releasing at all, which is not crazy because most of the community has felt that. But it's coming around now, which is good. And I really want to thank Foxy for taking probably an hour to write this all out for us. That's great. I'm really, Foxy, if you're watching, which I doubt it, but maybe. Thank you for writing this. That's great of you. I think that's awesome. And yeah, I want to just sign off this video here by clarifying why I've been gone for such a while. So, in short, my school, I do programs for my major. Basically, I'm studying software development. And I've been selected to participate in a national programming competition here in the Netherlands, and I've been studying like crazy for that like competition. We trying so hard to get everything in my head, so I could probably execute it when I'm there. So that's why I've been gone. I've been just spending my time in PHP, which like sucks, but like I have to. So I really hope you do understand why I've been not around as much for like the last year. It's been kind of crazy. With that, I want to end this video here. I want to thank you for watching, thank you for sticking around, and yeah, thank you for 4 years now of Trilinisty gaming. That's crazy, dude. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next video in probably 4 months. All right, bye bye.